Afghanistan managed to beat New Zealand this Sunday, India hold all the aces on Monday, which is going to be the last match of the league stage. Let me dive into the discussion with my experts. I am joined at this hour by former Indian cricketer Ashok Malhotra. I'll also be joining by Anis Sarjan, cricket expert, and senior journalist Gautam Bhattacharya. Anis, to you first. Let me ask you, after this win, how hopeful are you of India making the semi-final? Though a lot of their results will depend on how the other teams perform.
Vika, I mentioned in the last match when we lost to New Zealand, when you asked me your last comment, I said I am still hopeful that India will make it. Not because that other results will go. First, I wanted India to do well. India started that first step well by having a thumping victory. And mind you, Afghanistan not an easy team to beat, and we won by 66 runs. Shows that it was two bad matches to begin with. Now, the second question, yes, I am hopeful and I believe Afghanistan will beat New Zealand.
Okay, Ashok, on that note, let me come to you. Afghanistan will beat New Zealand. What do you think? Does India have a chance of making the semis?
Oh, definitely. If Afghanistan beats New Zealand, then definitely India has an outside chance if they keep playing like they played today. Because this is the first time the opening pair has got off to a great start. And once you lay this kind of a foundation, then you got a good strike of the ball in like Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja. But the only problem is the other side might not be as easy for them, the way Scotland competed with New Zealand, the way Namibia competed with other matches. So definitely it is not an easy task. But India has to keep increasing their run rate the way they've done it today. Will they do it? Right. And still the million-dollar question is, can Afghanistan, as Anis is saying, can they beat New Zealand? Because New Zealand definitely is the stumbling block in India's qualifying for semi-finals. And I would give a little bit of hope to India is that Mujibur Rahman did not play in this game. And he might be still the trump card when they play against New Zealand.
Right. Let me go over to Gautam there. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Afghanistan might be able to beat New Zealand on that in that match on the 7th?
See, I know Anis is an incurable optimist. The only problem is, India has left too many things little too late. But today's performance showed that coming out of those two matches, the Indian team hasn't suddenly overnight become a bad team. But yes, to answer your question, if Afghanistan follows the template of batting first and then putting the pressure on the New Zealand batsmen, then they've got a very good chance.
Well, tonight the win came as a result of India laying that foundation in the power play. Ashok, coming back to you, the way you saw Rohit Sharma, the free-flowing Sharma, do you think India missed a trick by not sending him to open in the last game?
Yes, they missed a lot of tricks, Rika, not only not sending Rohit and not playing Ravichandran Ashwin too. So this is what we have been missing. Rohit Sharma is the best opener in the world, and we put him at number 3. Virat, who is the best number 3, was pushed to number 4. So there was maybe a fear factor. There was no self-belief, I guess, which they have to pay the price. And for me, it is still a mystery why Ravichandran Ashwin was not picked from game number 1.
Would you say the moment Ravichandran Ashwin came in and picked up those 2 wickets, the complexion of the bowling unit changed? It gave a lot of confidence to India's bowling unit?
Definitely so. And especially a game against Pakistan. So definitely it made the difference.
Right. That was a question for Anis. Will you take it up, Anis?
Yeah, sure. Of course, now in hindsight, it did make a difference, and we found Ashwin in his groove. And good part was there was no dew today. I mean, I'm not taking away any credit from Ashwin. Ashwin, we all know, is a veteran. He's played so much of international cricket and IPL that he's got all the experience and the aces. But I would still probably have Varun Chakravarti in the side at the expense of a pace bowler. Because the slow and low wickets in UAE, you need Varun Chakravarti, and Varun Chakravarti has not done anything wrong to be left out. Today, probably they say it's a niggle. I'm not sure it's a niggle or it's a tactical move made by India. But nonetheless, whatever has happened today has happened good for India, so we can't complain.
Prakash Vakankar also joins us on the show. Prakash, would you say India's result today, though India played very well, the bowlers, that the fact that they picked up so many wickets, Ashwin and Jadeja together picked up 3 wickets, Shami picked up 3 wickets, was also because there wasn't much dew today and Indians were able to exploit the conditions?
Well, I think that definitely the relatively lesser amount of dew would have definitely played a role. But I just get the feeling, when bowlers go with 200 runs plus behind their backs, they themselves come out and bowl that much better. It's just the way the game is always played. And I think as far as Afghanistan were concerned, look, they play their cricket in a particular way. On hindsight, I think maybe opting to bat first, though the captain said it was about dew that he saw the previous evening. I suspect it was playing on India's mind that he was trying to do, and it just backfired because Rohit Sharma and Rahul really got off to a glorious start.
Gautam, I'll have to speak to you about India's net run rate, which is in the positive right now. Given that India is going to play 2 other weaker teams, relatively weaker teams, Scotland and Namibia. Do you see, India improving on that and thereby, making a very strong case for themselves to enter the semi-finals?
Yes, that's possible. See, the only catch is that of Afghanistan-New Zealand game. But otherwise, from whatever we have seen of Scotland and Namibia, they are quite competitive teams. But especially India, now taking off from this game, especially if they are in a position to, bat first, because otherwise there's a question of, getting the rivals out at a lesser number of runs, that comes into play. If they get to bat first, you will regularly see, I think, batting first hasn't been easy here. But as they showed that, with the right kind of lineup, without overthinking, they can do that. And they can once again, put 180, 190 plus on the board and take it from there.
Ashok, having got 200 runs in this match, how confident will India's batting unit be going into the next game? Now, would you say that this will help them to plan for big scores like this?
See, once our opener starts firing, then we are up and running. Because the top 3, when they fire, then we are winning all the way. It is the top 3. Will they do it again? Because I think it will give them a lot of confidence. And if you look at that, they have now a look of a well-settled team. Despite Hardik Pandya bowling a couple of overs, I don't know how and why. But otherwise, they have a look of a very well-settled team. They seem to be focused. The body language is totally different. And it is always when the Indian team's backs are against the wall, they come out firing. And that is exactly what they're doing. And we hope for the best. That's all. We can keep our fingers crossed.
Prakash, tonight it's not just the engine room or the top batsman fired, but it was also number 3 and number 4, Pant and Pandya, who usually come in a little late. They were promoted up the order. They fired as well. Would you say those are good signs for Team India as well?
Look, nothing succeeds like success. And the fact that India have done what they've done today, putting up 210 runs, I think is going to certainly help their confidence. Remember, conditions will be different for the next 2 games. They play back in Dubai. Dubai hasn't been a great surface for India, at least in the T20 World Cup. And I think it will depend really on what happens in that all-important game. And what is interesting is because the New Zealand-Afghanistan game, if memory serves me right, is the last one in the group, it will keep the suspense going, assuming that India win the next 2 games.
Right. So after that, the last game will be India's on the 8th. But by 7th, we will get to know, 7th afternoon or early evening, we'll get to know if India is making the semi-finals or not. Anis, since you are the local man out there, I'm going to ask you really, now India moves to Dubai from here and will be playing the last 2 matches in Dubai. They said this was the best batting wicket they got. Would you say that we get back to that template where we see 100 runs around 150 aside are scored once again, or we can expect big runs being scored by Team India?
Of course, the wickets will not be the same as we found in Abu Dhabi. But you see, once a batsman gets in groove, and mind you, every time Virat Kohli is not going to lose the toss. So it's difficult when you bat first. And having said that, today also, if you saw, New Zealand came out of jail in spite of being 3 down for 50. So if New Zealand can come out against Scotland, why not India? I still back net run rate should not be an issue for India. India will score big. It's just that one game on Sunday, which we all hope and pray that goes India's favor. I mean, Afghanistan beating New Zealand, and India should be through. Net run rate should not be an issue.
Gautam, I'll really have to ask you this question about Virat Kohli and him not managing to win any of the tosses this time around. He's been really unlucky, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, a toss is a toss. I mean, you go through these sequences, but this one was honestly a good toss to lose in the end. Because as Anis pointed out, I mean, it's in Dubai, especially in Dubai, I mean, barring a few days when there hasn't been much of a dew, the side chasing really has had a free run. And there, things can go the other way. So we'll have to wait and watch. But, this is where the campaign has really taken off for the first time. I mean, more than the Pakistan match, I was disappointed with the, with the fear or the uncertainty in their approach for the New Zealand game. But now that it has taken off, we can certainly hope for something good from here.
Right. Please do stay on. I have some more to discuss with you.